What's going on, everybody? My name's Jose Contreras, and I'm the co-host of Sports Drip Live alongside my brother Enrique. And before we start the show, we just wanted to obviously we all know that there was a surprise passing of former wrestler Scott Hall. He died this week at the age of 63, having suffered multiple heart attacks after developing a blood clot issue after hip replacement. His death is saddened by wrestling fans who follow him throughout his career. And today we celebrate Scott Hall and his in-ring career from being Razor Ramon to the founder of the NWO and WCW. My brother and I will reminisce on a lot of on his illustrious career. We'll talk a lot of our favorite moments with Scott Hall and Razor Ramon with you all. I hope you guys will join us in celebrating him as well. And then, of course, we'll talk MMA. We'll talk UFC, Bellator. But Scott Hall, rest in peace, and let's get to it.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
You are now entering the Sports Drip Podcast. Brought to you by JCA Sports. Now here's your host, Jose and Enrique Contreras.
Welcome to the Sports Drip Live podcast. My name is Jose Contreras. My brother Enrique will be joining us very, very, very soon. And today we have a great episode for you all. As I mentioned right before the intro started, we're going to be reminiscing and celebrating the life and career of Scott Hall. Scott Hall, formerly known as Razor Ramon, he was a wrestler for WWF, for WCW, came back to WWE, Hall of Famer, a legend. And, I'm hope that you guys all join me today in celebrating his life. We'll reminisce, like I said, our favorite moments of Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. We'll talk the NWO, favorite matches, and just stuff like that. And of course, we go in the combat of sports. We'll talk all things wrestling. We'll talk Big E and tragic news about him and suffering a neck injury. We'll talk what we think is going to happen with Cody Rhodes and WWE, and who we feel he's going to be facing at WrestleMania. And of course, we'll talk UFC Saturday Night Fight. Let's pass Saturday Night Fight Night. We'll talk both the main event, co-main event, and Bellator as well. But welcome, guys. Like I said, my brother will be joining us very, very soon. And let's start with Scott Hall. Tragic news that he passed away at the age of 63 through complications after having hip surgery. Sad news, especially for us wrestling fans. Scott Hall was a pioneer. He was known as Razor Ramon when he first was introduced in WWF. Great character, larger than life guy. He was the bad guy. That was his gimmick, and very like Scarface-esque the way he talked, the way he spoke, his mannerisms and everything. One of my favorite wrestlers, without a doubt. He left WWF, went to WCW, and founded the NWO with Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan and that faction was everything to wrestling fans, man. Like during the Monday Night Wars, when it was WCW versus WWF, Nitro versus Raw, people were looking for stuff to watch, and WCW it always drew in numbers when it came to the NWO, and rightfully so. That was the hottest thing back then in the 90s, man. The NWO, when Scott Hall made his appearance at WCW, and then he kind of foretold that Kevin Nash was coming along, and Kevin Nash came, and they were talking about how they were going to run over, they were going to take over WCW, and they did just that with the help of Hulk Hogan, man. That was, like I said, one of the greatest factions of all time. It was, that faction was later brought into the WWF or WWE now after Vince McMahon purchased WCW, and we had Scott Hall facing the great ones like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and it's sad to hear that one of your heroes, one of your favorite wrestlers growing up passes away, because these are guys that we look up to as kids. Especially me, I looked up to guys like these. Wrestling was everything when I was a kid. I would watch every single Monday night SmackDown, pay-per-view, you name it, man. Like that was literally that was like the last thing we would watch before we would go to bed. And then the next day we'll wake up just like, damn, I can't believe that happened last night. Go to school, talk about it with all your friends. Wrestling was just everything, and Scott Hall was definitely a part of that, with WCW, with WWF, with WWE. And it sucks, definitely sucks hearing the loss, but this is life, and in life this happens, makes me feel old, right? Because like the older you get, you start to realize, all your heroes growing up, they're getting older as well, and they'll start to pass, and it's just the way of life. But we're here to celebrate his life and his career, and I wanted to ask you all, what is your favorite Scott Hall moment? What is your favorite Razor Ramon moment? Was it when he faced Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania in the first ever ladder match for the Intercontinental Championships? Was it when he did invade WCW, and like I said, and created the NWO with Scott, with Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash? Was it when they returned to WWE, when Vince McMahon wanted to inject that lethal poison, and brought in the NWO at No Way Out in 2000, I believe, too. Yeah. So comment, guys, for sure. Comment. We'll be here. Like I said, my brother's on his way. I'll go ahead with my favorite Scott Hall and Razor Ramon moment, and it definitely was that Intercontinental Championship match with Shawn Michaels, first ever ladder match in the WWF, and what a show! It's literally one of my favorite matches, even to this day. Those guys are the pioneers of ladder matches. You don't think about ladder matches without thinking about either Shawn Michaels or Razor Ramon. Those two guys, they put on, that was literally one, like I said, that they put on a clinic. That was an amazing match. It was amazing storytelling. Scott Hall came out the victor, and that just says a lot about him. I mean, that guy was just full of charisma, man, full of machismo, and that was his gimmick. That he was it, man. He was the real deal. The real deal. Dude was buff, in shape. I think he was like 6'3", 6'4". It was crazy. Just a specimen, a beast of a man. But I mean, sad to see him go, but here we are. So like I said, my brother will be joining us very, very soon. But if all else fails, if we're unable to do a show tonight, guys, for sure, hop on tomorrow. We could always do this again tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see, right? We'll see what's going on with Ricky and his phone. But JCA Sports Podcast is coming up next. Me, John, Eric, we will be on just about 9 o'clock. We'll be on around 9 o'clock start time. It'll be fun. We'll talk Mitchell Trubisky. We'll talk, of course, Bears, maybe a little bit March Madness. So hop on. I think I'm going to call this show and definitely do this tomorrow.